What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Chris, as always with me, Liam. And today we are diving into season 2, episode 3 of Apple TV's Silo. Very exciting, or was it? I don't know. I felt that this particular episode for me was just as drawn out as the very first episode. I feel like Silo is going on this pattern for me where it's like, we gotta lay heavy backstory and really draw this thing out, and then we'll give you some action. We'll make things happen quick, and then we'll really draw it out. But you said you had a different opinion, so I'm curious. What was your take of the episode?
Pacing wise, I didn't even notice it this time. Maybe the headspace I was in, I had a long, I worked for part of the day, but I had a long, relaxing day, essentially. So my head was in a pretty good spot for this episode. And when we got to watch it last night, I didn't wait until literally as I'm falling asleep before I start watching it. So I got to enjoy it. And it opened up strong for me. We go right back to Silo 17, the mystery man in the vault.
Solo.
Yes, I was so excited because I knew before he showed his face, I was like, I know who this is. I know who it is. Based on the inflection points and stuff like that in the tone of his voice when he got excited, when he actually started spilling a whole bunch of stuff. And I was like, oh shit, it is. And then when he finally revealed himself later on the episode, I'm like, fuck yes, I knew it.
Yeah, I didn't put 2 and 2 together, but as soon as I realized the reveal, I was like, oh, that's a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, the stuff at the very beginning to get her to realize and the viewer to realize that, hey, look, everything that she just went through was the spark of the original stuff in Silo 17.
Yeah. Which I thought that was the one thing as I was watching that I was about to text you, but it was super early in the morning. So I was like, oh, he's probably still sleeping. I was like, oh, shoot, the prediction that we were talking about on the previous episode is 100% correct. It's if she doesn't do something and go back to the other silo and stop them, it's basically she just created what happened in the other silo. She was the catalyst for that. And then she had that realization in this episode, which is why she's on a quest to figure out a suit to get back to the other silo. But
I thought it was fun. And the whole time so for me, she does not present as someone who has high EQ. She's got high IQ for sure. But in this episode, it showed that she had a whole lot of EQ as well.
yeah.
Did you notice that too?
Yeah, well, I don't necessarily agree with the first statement, though, because I do believe she does have EQ. There's a reason why the people in engineering, mechanical, where she worked, looked up to her, cared about her, treated her like family. They were tight-knit. She had that ability. But she also is the kind of person, I believe, who, when sees something that needs to be done, has no problem being blunt and hurting people's feelings to get the objective.
She also isolates herself, though, to remove herself from the social situations, which is what was leading me to believe that she had the low EQ.
I think that's intentional, though, right?
Is it?
Yeah, ever since the death of her mother and her brother, she's been on this journey of self-isolation to keep herself from being hurt. That's why she has very select people that she opens up to, very select people that she considers very close to her, but doesn't stop the entire community from looking at her as someone to look up to, someone that's inspiring, someone that they consider family.
I was also struggling with the fact whether I was seeing her manipulate Solo in the conversations because she'd have to pull back to get him to do what she wanted. But was that coming from a place of caring, or was that coming from a place of, if I don't do this, I die? Or both?
Well, I think the word choice there, manipulation. Manipulation is done for your gain, but doesn't matter if anyone else gains, right? Manipulation is it's like a selfish act on one's part. I'm going to manipulate the other person. I'm going to get them to do a thing for me that's going to benefit me, even if it doesn't benefit them.
Well, we talked about that with Jocko Willink before, right?
Yeah.
It's based on the intention that's behind the manipulation. Well, if it's meant for bad, then it's not a good thing, obviously.
I think that, and I think we talked about in that conversation too, manipulation and persuasion are just two sides of the same coin. Persuasion is when it's done for the benefit of the person doing it. Manipulation is when maybe it's done for the harm of that person. There's no accounting for the person. Manipulation being a negative word, persuasion being the positive. Yeah.
So the whole interaction between them was extremely interesting for me. And eventually she got him out of his shell a little bit. I mean, that's very difficult to do, some self-isolating for so long. But when I noticed the food out there and she started questioning about the people, the fresher corpses, I was like, oh shit, did he really just poison her food?
Totally thought that too.
Especially,
Well, yeah, they led us down that line with dialogue, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I was just waiting to watch you eat it. Wait, what do you mean? And then it's because obviously he's been hallucinating because he's been there so long that he's having trouble seeing what's real and what's not. And apparently his hallucinations don't eat. They can't eat real food. Like, it doesn't happen. The food doesn't disappear, right? So he figured, put real food out there. If that real food disappears, that's a real person.
yeah, he definitely revived an old character in my mind. Christian Bale was in this POW camp, and he was in that same movie where they were both pretty much starved to death.
Such a good actor. I don't know the name of the movie top of my head.
But you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, that movie was so good, and it felt like he was very much bringing back that character, or at least a little bit of that for inspiration for here, which would make total sense.
Yeah.
Because he was losing his mind in that movie, starving to death, except here he's not really starving to death.
I don't know if I make the connection like you're making. But yeah, I can see what you're saying.
He's going crazy.
I mean, wouldn't you if you were isolated by yourself?
I'm not saying I felt a lot of similarities between those two characters that he's playing two separate things. So that's why I was bringing that up.
You had mentioned earlier, though, do I think that Jules is manipulating Solo, or is she trying to like have an understanding and compassion for him? Is she starting to try to relate with him as a human being just because of a level of care, or is she maybe doing this to manipulate him to survive, to get what she needs? I think that there are multiple times throughout this particular episode where you notice that she actually like leaves herself for a second and like connects him with him on a humanity level, where like she takes a step back and then realizes like, actually she closed the door. That's what it was. And she realizes, oh wait, this dude's been not only living by himself, but for a portion of the time he's been here, he's been living in fear, like of people trying to kill him, of him breaking his prime directive, all these different things that he was supposed to be doing. And so I think that, one, the weight of the knowledge that she may be the catalyst that makes her silo fall is weighing heavy on her. So humanity is at the forefront of her mind. So I don't necessarily believe that she's doing everything with Solo just because she wants to be a good person. I think ultimately, too, at the back of her mind, there's that I need to go save the people I love and care about.
I'd agree with that. I thought it was fun how she wanted to make one of those underwater bells. Essentially,
Yeah.
She's like, I need you to, come out and pump the air for me. He's like, yeah, no, I'm good. Thanks.
Incredibly trusting of someone you have just met who's been locked away forever and is slightly psychotic.
Well,
I want you to you are in charge of life support. Let's go.
you don't have very many options,
No other options yet.
but that could also, based on her intelligence, be a good litmus test for whether she can trust him or not.
Okay. You're going to have to very quickly establish whether he can be trusted or not. So it makes sense.
Yeah. Another key part of the episode, all right, this is later on, so I'm definitely jumping over here, but I want to make sure I get to it before I forget, is her father, Jules's father.
Mm-hmm.
When he's doing the procedure to remove, you see how he never put the new one in?
I think that's a good observation. Absolutely. And the weight of Jules knowing the truth is finally, I think, becoming too much for him, right? She calls him out on it right before she leaves, how she's aware that, he's been faking their ability to have babies and like lying to people's faces and not really being a good doctor, but necessarily like a good steward of his position, but being a controlled pawn in the silo. I think the weight of that's finally cracked, like has come through, right? So he's breaking protocol and he's allowing people to have babies based off emotional decisions now.
Based on his own experience, because he was just having a conversation in that beautiful garden that they have now. And he said something very profound about hope and children being the hope. That's the best way he could describe having kids. Mm-hmm. And he said something along the lines of, look, the first people who planted this garden, these trees and all this stuff, never got to sit under it.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's deep.
Yeah.
Not as deep as the silo, but deep.
No, yeah, that was a great scene. I think he had really some coming to terms moments in this episode. I was kind of curious why we were following him so much, because again, to me, this episode was very drawn out. There's a lot of dialogue and a lot of like coming to realizations, and there was action until we have the actual fight outside of the sheriff's office. But
Nations are just mental action.
I know, but for me, it's just slow. It was slow. That's all I can say.
Oh, I was completely involved in this. I guess kind of like how you are more so with Dune than I am.
Yeah.
Right? So we have Sims going behind the master's back and being like, yep, we're going to put you down in mechanical, set some shit up.
Is that behind the mayor's back?
I definitely think it's behind Bernard's back.
Because
Says Judge even calls him on it.
interesting. I thought the way I read that was that the judge, and so Bernard and the judge keep having these interactions, right?
I thought they were gonna fuck or something.
There's a lot of sexual tension, going on between the two of them. But I think she's also slightly disgusted by him because she understands that he's still lying to her. Like she knows. She asked him twice, did she say she wanted to go out? Bernard can't really give her a straight answer. The judge knows that he's lying. So she's like very hesitant with that part. But I think what's happening is what we see the judge and Bernard talking about, and the plan being is not the same plan he's giving Sims. I think Bernard is appeasing the judge and saying certain things to get her to work with him and kind of do what he wants. But in the background of it all, he's actually directly employing Sims to do the things Sims is doing. Because it's straight out of the playbook, they said.
Yeah.
The things he's doing are straight out of the playbook. And so it's like, clearly Bernard is still in charge. He's just playing shadow games with the judge.
Sims would definitely know the playbook though. And he is pissed that he doesn't get to be Shadow.
He was upset, yeah, but he also, I don't think Sims, because here's the thing. Either Sims, if Sims makes this play, he only benefits if he takes over. He would literally have to take over the mayor's job. Because as soon as the mayor finds out that Sims is no longer operating as a good watchdog, a good dog, basically, he's going to do something about that. He's going to get rid of him.
Is he not operating as a good watchdog though?
He's not, if he's not doing what the mayor says he's supposed to do.
But it's like doing what the Constitution says to do versus an unlawful order, right?
You're thinking of the silo like it's a American democracy, which is also slightly failing, but it's not. It's a fascist regime.
Yeah, I get that. But what I'm saying is he's going by the doctrine that they're all taught to live by. To them, this is the rule of God.
Yeah. I just think, and we could be absolutely wrong, and I would love to hear what you guys think in the comments as well. I mean, as we play out the rest of the season, I'm sure we'll see. I just don't think Sims is making a play without Bernard giving him these shadow plays to go do. I think he's directly working with him still. I don't think it's something he's doing behind his back.
But it could be an easy setup right now for Sims to be like, oh, you're not even following these rules anymore. And that's how he takes over. But he doesn't even know about the judge being the shadow, does he?
No, he doesn't know.
He just knows that he's not the shadow.
He wouldn't be, so I don't know. There's a lot of holes in that for me. But then again, I mean, shows go forward with holes all the time. So I'm like,
yeah,
could it be? Could it not be? I don't know.
So the kid.
Cooper.
Yep. Everyone loves Cooper.
Coop. Yep. He was Jules' shadow when we first met him.
As soon as he got shot, I was like, oh, there goes the unification that I was waiting for the two factions down below in Mechanical to join forces. Yeah. That's the uniting piece right there.
I thought it was going to be Walk. In previous conversations we had, I thought Walk was going to bring them to peace. We're going to get, Knox and Cheryl there to like come to terms and like be this uniting force. But ultimately we find out it's a death of Coop that does it.
Which was extremely unfortunate.
Yeah, he was a good character.
And so then they kind of leave off the episode at the end with Solo coming out and freaking.
No, I was really surprised, one, to see Steven Zahn on screen, and it was awesome to like finally get that reveal, right? But also to see how quickly he starts trusting her. And, someone locked in a vault for even 1 year by themselves is going to have way more fear in them than I think he shows. So I thought it was kind of interesting to see how trusting and how willing he is to like start venturing.
he's also a man. And
So you
he's
think-
been locked away for a long time. It's easier for a male to be willing to trust a female.
I would say so.
So it just made sense to me.
It's that.
Less of a threat.
I'm trying to think of the word. Not lone survivor, but like if you were stranded on a desert island kind of thing. That's what I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you found someone who was also human, one, you would bond with that person. But if that person happened to be the opposite sex, you probably would do more things to impress them and make things, cohabit.
Exactly. I agree.
Yeah.
And so what's going to happen next?
Well, obviously, like we just mentioned, unifying force just happened, right? The death of Coop, as unfortunate as it was, is going to be the catalyst that unites the lower levels and brings them into one united rebellion. I think that we're going to hopefully have both Solo and Jules venture back to the new silo. That would be kind of cool. Because if you can have not only Jules show up, but another person.
But proof of an outsider surviving.
Right. Because here's the thing. If just Jules comes back, they have no reason to open the door, let her back in and talk to her. But if Jules comes back with someone they've never seen before, now that's a mystery we need to solve. That's information we need. That's a reason to open the vault and let her back in. And so I think that ultimately she's going to have to convince him to make that journey, come back, which will be the only reason the rebellion stops short of opening the door. And I think we'll get to that before the season's out, where the rebellion uprises, certain people overthrow, there's about to be this catastrophe, and then somehow, we don't know yet, but Jules swoops in to save the day. But that's just my predictions of like where we're going. Again, I have no knowledge of this, that I read the books. This is just me just kind of like predicting and maybe even hoping of what I see. But yeah, I think we're about to see Silo 18 break out into like a rebellion. We're going to see the loss or overthrow of the power that's be. We're going to see the judge walk. We're going to see Jules come back and hopefully with Solo. And then we'll see where it goes from there. That's my theories.
Solo also mentioned there are only 50 silos.
I thought there was hundreds when they pan out at the end of season 1 and they show you all the craters. It looked like way more than 50.
But he also wanted to know which silo she was from, which leads to more information about them having contact with each other, because he was informed.
They do. Your theory, it was proven correct in this episode, because the judge asks the mayor, Bernard, about Silo 17. And he said, no, that silo has been dead for years. He has that information. So there is a way that they're communicating or keeping tallies on each other, at least, minimum.
Yes. I was going to get to that part.
You're still right in on you, man.
Yeah, that's okay. I just want to stack that evidence real quick.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really cool that they led credence to that. I do not remember where we're at from the books anymore. And I came to a realization that I don't want to reread them. I'd rather just go through it right now and then reread them after.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that I am following the show the way everyone else is following it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's fun. It's fun. Like, what do I know? I don't know, but I'm going to predict it.
Yes.
It's leading into something that keeps me interested, but until the death of Coop, this episode for me was a slow burner. Just personally speaking, what did you guys think in the comments? Liam watched it last night with his girlfriend Barbara. They both thought it was great. They didn't think the same thing I did, so I am alone on this slow burn theory in this house. But let me know what you guys thought. I'm interested to see what you guys feel about this episode.
Oh, one last piece. The drug. Told him that he could take a small dose and he would forget up until like a week ago.
A week.
Yeah. And he's like, if you can give me the dose to make me forget she ever existed, like way before I ever met my wife, then we're good. I'll do what you need.
Yeah. Let's talk about that for a second, because I don't think Sims was being honest with him, because Sims was going to kill that guy regardless.
Yeah, I know.
Patrick, whatever his name was, the guy from he was in the first season quite a bit too. I think that ultimately he was just promising that guy whatever he wanted, because he was just going to kill him anyway. Yeah. I don't think they have a drug that can make you forget 22 years of your life. I think they have a drug that can dilute your memory and is very effective in creating like short-term memory loss and eventually making you like almost walking around like you have Alzheimer's or something. But I don't know if they have the only way to erase 22 years is to put a bullet in someone's head, and that's what they did.
At the same time, We already know for film and movies and all that good shit that if you introduce something, you have to use it.
Well, they have been using it. That's in the water supply.
Oh, you're thinking it's that way. It's just the water supply
I think that they've been putting this chemical in because they talk about it in season 1. It's been so long, I can't remember exactly what the scene was or who was talking about it, but they talk about the water supply making them forget.
Mm-hmm. And that's why we talked about the whole decision with Sims choosing the alcohol over the water like he normally would.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that they are using it, and they are maybe even higher dosing the lower levels to keep them more complacent, more forgetful, more just in the rhythm of their lives.
That would be stupid.
But that's what I think they're doing.
They're literally mechanical if they forget. I don't know how to do my job.
All right. I'm excited to see episode 4 because I know we're building up to something that's going to be great. I'm also excited to dive into Dune Sunday so we can review it for you guys on Monday. If you guys really enjoyed this episode, comment below. What did you love? What was your biggest takeaway from this particular episode? Where do you think it's going? What are your theories and predictions? If you have not already entered to win the $50 gift card from us this month, the month's running out pretty quick, so you might want to go ahead and do that. To do that, all you have to do is be subscribed to the channel and then comment about Silo in the comments below. We want to talk with you guys. This show is not really for us to tell you, oh, we know everything and we just want to share all our knowledge with you. It's a conversation. Liam and I are talking about it, and we want to talk with you too. So you can have that conversation right there in the comments, and when you do, you get entered to win. We will choose it live on the channel the beginning of next month, so we know who wins, and whoever that is gets a $50 gift card to kind of help out during the holidays, which I think everyone can use, right? So awesome stuff. Other than that, we guys will see you on our next video for Dune. If you're loving these videos, you can check out more here. And we also have an entire playlist that you guys could check out. That'll be right down here. And then another video of some awesome things right above my head. But don't forget to subscribe, comment below, say bye-bye. Bye.
Find the strength hiding in each battle scar. You're not who you were, you've already come far.